yes, we have the area here that I want to transfer to enlarge a bit. And this is my new area, which as you can see is a little bit bigger. And as you do this, the point really is to, not worry about getting it precise. You really don't need to do that. What we're looking for here are interesting ideas for compositions. And so notice that it shows this, it's a little off center, the sort of hub of all this activity right here is not smack in the middle, it's a little off center. I have shapes that go off the edges of the pages, which I always think is a nice way to design. And so we have some really interesting negative and positive shapes to play with. So that's what I'm really trying to get over here. So, one thing that you can do is you can, just if you want to do it like an imaginary or a literal line, sort of splitting the picture plane in one way, and then, again, coming down the middle that way. So you have, almost 4 quarters to think about. You can even do that on your bigger page. It's kind of like a grid. You could also do a grid, but that's way more than we really need to do. But, for example, if you look at the bottom quarter here, you can, use that to help you draw your lines. So I can see that there's this shape here between this line and this middle shape that goes right through the quarters of the design. So I'm going to use that to help me get some accuracy. And what I'm doing is looking at the spaces between. So yeah, it's not going to be exact, but that's really okay. This interesting shapes is what we're going for here. And like this. It's actually fine if you get some little exaggeration or changes in this. It's really part of the whole experience of being playful and trying new things, seeing what you come up with. Okay, so there we go. This is our design now. And what I'm asking you to do is to now add color to it, to have some fun playing with your color, playing with texture too. And so if we remember David Hockney's work where he, had he used these little marks on top of large areas of color. So that could really be fun. So let me just show you what I mean by that. So for example, I've got some of this, this is a new paint by Golden. It's called So Flat, and supposedly it's more opaque naturally, so we don't really have to add a lot of weight to it. And suppose I wanted to use this to paint in one of my shapes. And of course, at this point, you can also decide to, make this whole thing more painterly if you want to. In other words, use brush strokes and not go for the really flat color. If you know my work, you know that I like that. I like to work that way, but that's not everybody's choice at all, and it's totally fine. So, but the idea is that you might think about both the color combinations, and I would definitely say to repeat your color once or at least twice in your piece, because I do think that it creates a more cohesive looking design. And you really don't need to worry about whether these things end up looking at all like scissors. It's just really just plain old shape against shape. You might even want to emphasize a line, but you don't need to do that. So there are a lot of choices here. So we're just going to, place in some colors. Okay, and I'm just going to stop here and not do the whole painting right now, but then to just show you what I'm talking about by adding some texture maybe in there. You could take an interesting color like teal. Just going to drop this down here. Very temporary little palette. And of course, you can mix your colors and make any variety that you'd like, but just to show you that perhaps you could take this. And remember David Hockney, how he liked to use those little lines throughout. So what would happen if you put dots throughout, or if you made sort of little swishy shapes through it? That would give more interest to some of these kind of larger areas of color that maybe aren't as interesting, or maybe you combine them. So, I really am encouraging you to take risks and try new things and see what you kind of come up with. Because as you know, this is the place to play, this class, to try things out, to get ideas, to see what happens. And I'm just using this color because it's here and because I do want to, of course, repeat my colors, because that creates a more unified looking design when you repeat a color more than once in a given composition. This teal is a wonderful color, and it's really opaque too, so you don't have to worry too much about changing it or adding to it. But of course, you can use white to change the value of any of these colors, and that's a great way to continue to use these colors, but not to repeat the exact same color, but just to add white so that you're changing the value, but you still have that same color there. So anyway, I'm going to stop here just to show you what I'm talking about for this exercise, and have fun.